For the context of this story, I was 18 at the time. A naive 18-year-old girl who saw the world with rose-tinted glasses on and thought that nothing bad would ever happen. How wrong was I? It was the summer of 2015, and I was on my break at work. I was doing the usual swiping through Tinder, mostly left because I was super picky. Then I came across this guy's profile. He was pretty cute, I thought. 6'2", 25, brown hair, with gray and green eyes, nerdy looking, with a really adorable smile. He was only about 8 kilometers away according to his profile. I can't remember exactly what his bio said, but it went something like this. The name's Josh. I'm the type of guy your family will constantly ask about if we ever break up. Your mom will love me. I love dogs because dogs are great. A bit nerdy. If we match, pop up, I don't bite. I read his bio and laughed at how cheeky and confident it was. I knew full well I was definitely going to swipe for this guy. When I swiped right, I didn't get a match. I remember feeling disheartened and gutted, but in all honesty, I kind of expected it. I'm an average-looking girl, really. Mousy brown hair, big-ish girl, 5'7", and not exactly a girly girl with my dress sense. I prefer my jumpers and jeans with Vans over dresses and heels any day. I also don't wear makeup, prefer the natural look, so I kind of understood why someone like him wouldn't think twice about swiping left for me. So I went back to work and decided just to focus on the rest of my shift and not let the non-existent match bother me. After I finished my shift, I got my phone out and called my mom. I always called her after work to tell her about my day and all the rude-ass customers I had to deal with. The joys of retail, right? I told her I was just waiting for the bus now, and I would be home in about 25 minutes. She asked me what I wanted for dinner, and I told her to order us Chinese takeaway, get a film ready, and we would have a chill Friday night in. She enthusiastically agreed, and we said our I love yous, and she hung up. Whilst waiting for the bus, I turned my data on and started scrolling through my phone. Answered a couple of my friends asking how my day was, and liked a couple of dumb memes on Facebook. I then noticed I had a notification from Tinder. You got a new match. I automatically assumed it was just someone I had either accidentally swiped for, or just someone I felt was pretty decent and swiped for. But when I opened the app, I was shocked to find that it was Josh. I can't even remember the last time I had been so excited and happy as I was in that very moment. A hot, nerdy guy had swiped for an average girl like me? No. Really? Seriously. I didn't know how to pop up. I didn't know what to type. I stared for what felt like an eternity at my screen, wondering what to even say. In the middle of wondering what to put, I got distracted by my bus turning up. I almost missed it because I was so damn distracted. I got on and sat down with my phone still open in the app. I eventually decided to pop up with a traditional, "Hi, how's your day been?" I know, how boring of me. But to be honest, I was so shocked he even swiped for me. I had nothing witty or decent to say. I wanted to ask him why a hot guy like him was swiping for someone like me. But guys don't really like a girl with low self-esteem, so I decided against that. When I got home, I immediately checked my phone and there it was. A notification from Tinder saying Josh had sent me a message. I couldn't believe this was actually happening. Wait, maybe he's a catfish. Of course, That's the only explanation for someone swiping for me who looks like that. But I somehow didn't get those vibes with Josh, even though I had many red flags telling me not to fall for it. I couldn't help it. My curiosity was getting the better of me, and I had to open that message. Hi there. My day has been pretty damn good. Even better when I swiped for you and we matched. How are you? Now I think about it, that's a pretty cringy thing to say. But at the time, I thought it was so cute and nice. My heart was racing. After replying the generic, "I'm good, thank you," and the rest of that usual how your day has been and what you've done, the conversation really began to flow. I found out that we had so much in common, and honest to God, this was the best conversation I'd ever had with someone on Tinder. My usual Tinder matches consisted of asking for my Snapchat so they could send me something. It got to the point where I almost deleted the damn thing because I genuinely had enough. But Josh finally gave me the reason to want to keep it. After about a week of messaging on Tinder, he asked for my number. I've never been so damn happy in my life. I was finally glad to be taking our conversation out of Tinder. Straight after having my number, we started texting and didn't stop for hours. We would just message every day for hours on end. My mom started to ask me who I was texting, and I told her it was a guy from Tinder. Showed her a picture of him, and she just smiled and said how nice he looked. Her words were, "He looks like a true gentleman. Nice smile." I just smiled back at her and said, "Yeah, he's lovely." It had been about 2 months now. I couldn't really figure out why he didn't arrange to meet me yet. We were texting all day, and sometimes he even called me at night before I went to bed. I was starting to get concerned, but I was so naive and stupid, I let my heart rule my head. I was falling so hard for this guy, I just couldn't stop it. My mom would ask me about my day at work, but all I would really talk about was Josh. She was getting increasingly worried and anxious about it. At one point, she even asked me why I was so bothered about someone I haven't even met. We ended up having a heated argument, and I stormed out and went for a walk. He called me after I texted him saying I was really upset. The conversation went something like this. "Hi baby, why are you upset?" Me and my mom just had an argument. "About what?" "About you." There was silence for about 10 seconds. Then he finally said something. "About me." "But what did I do?" "Nothing. She's concerned because I'm so bothered about you, and I haven't even met you yet. There's a reason I haven't met up with you, but you wouldn't even understand." I kind of stood there in silence, wondering what that even meant. I wanted to ask, but the way he said it just sent chills down my spine, and I don't even understand why. Before I could even say anything, he spoke again. "You don't even understand how much I love you. But you wouldn't love me if you really knew me. I can't lose you. So I just keep it this way. That way, I would never lose you." What? What the hell? Why would I stop loving you? There's nothing you could ever do to stop me from loving you. Tell me, what's going on, Josh? He hung up on me. Why? What was so bad that he couldn't just trust me, or even meet me? When I got home that night, my mom was waiting up for me. As soon as I got in, she pulled me in for a hug. I cried so much. Her embrace just made me so emotional, and everything from the last 2 months had eventually caught up on me. As much as I love Josh, I just couldn't keep up this texting and calling relationship. How could someone who lived 8 kilometers away from me not want to meet me? Maybe he had a girlfriend, or even a wife. Or maybe it's just the original thought, a catfish. I just didn't know what was going on, and I was tired of it. I'm so glad I had my mom there, just hugging me tight and telling me it was okay. I got into bed early that night. I didn't even look at my phone. I just got into bed and went to sleep. When I woke up, I had 47 missed calls and about 96 texts from Josh. The 4 voicemails I managed to listen to included him telling me he was sorry. To him telling me how angry he was that I wasn't answering his messages. To him telling me how he was going to kill me if I didn't answer him. I didn't listen to the other 24 voicemails because that was about enough for me. I texted him back telling him that I was so sorry, but I had fallen asleep early. In that text I included how he had hung up on me the night before, so I didn't really understand why he was kicking off at me for not messaging him. He immediately replied within like 10 seconds of the message sending, saying how sorry he was and that he had been drinking because he was so worried about me. He stated how much of a dick he can be when he's drunk, and that if I had just replied to him, he wouldn't have acted like that. So basically, he was blaming me for acting the way he did. Because I loved him so much, I apologized to him, and I forgave him for the stupid little hiccup we had. Yes, I was an idiot. I should have seen the warning signs, but I didn't. I loved him. I really did love him. I was scrolling through Facebook when I came across an article. The body of another girl found mutilated. God, what the hell is wrong with this world? I opened the article and started reading. The body of a 14-year-old girl was found early this morning, about 4:30 a.m. She is yet to be identified. She is believed to have been sexually assaulted before she was strangled to death. If anyone has any information, please call the Midlands Police. Jesus Christ, that's absolutely awful. I text Josh about it, and this is how the conversation went. Oh God, did you see the article about the girl who was murdered? No, what happened? Says she was found about 4:30 this morning. How horrible is that? How do you know she didn't deserve it? I'm sorry, excuse me? What the actual hell did I just read? What? What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you ever say that? He didn't even respond. I turned the news on. I had been so caught up with Josh I didn't even realize that there had been 7 murders. 7. I missed information about this. It was going viral, and everyone knew about it. It was so messed up. Girls aged between 9 and 15 being sexually assaulted and strangled to death. Some of them even being found with missing limbs. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. People being warned to keep their kids indoors. Warned to stay away from parks and not to go out alone at any time. It seemed so unreal. This was happening in and around my area. Why though? Who would be absolutely screwed up to do such a thing? I still hadn't heard a word from Josh. I tried texting him 4 more times, but I got nothing. I was worried. I just wanted to know he was safe. I told my mom and she told me not to worry. Maybe he was just busy, right? Besides, why was I worried about someone I hadn't even met in nearly a year? I was worried. I loved him so much. With all these murders going on, I just wanted to know if he was okay. It was about 2:30 a.m., and I was woken up by knocking at my front door. My mom came into my room and asked me who the hell would be knocking at this time. I checked my phone before I did anything else, and almost threw up when I opened the messages from Josh. Picture after picture of the girls who had been murdered, even pictures that hadn't even been released to the public. Pictures of the missing parts of some of the girls' bodies. Pictures of him having sex with their dead bodies. I can't even type this without feeling physically sick when I think back. Under all those pictures was a long message from Josh. This is what it said. I had to send you these. You have to finally know the truth. I want you to love me for who I am and what I do. I can't help my urges, baby. I love you. These girls deserved everything that happened to them. They're not innocent kids, trust me. They were a danger to society. Brats who were spoiled by their stupid parents. They begged for their lives, and I loved it. I wanted them to beg. Beg me for forgiveness. Beg me for their lives. My God, you have no idea how much I love you, and how good it feels to finally tell you all this. I'm coming to see you. I want to meet you, and we can talk about this properly. I won't hurt you, I promise. I love you. See you soon. No. No. Hell no. My heart stopped. I went completely pale white, and my blood ran cold. My mom stared at me with shock and worry. What's wrong, dear? I didn't even reply. I couldn't. What the hell would I even say to her? Well, basically, my online boyfriend is a serial killer. No, there was nothing I could say. That was it. I'm going to die. We're going to die. The knocking got progressively louder, and my mom began to shake me into reality to try to get me to answer her. Talk to me right now. What's going on? Is it Josh? What is it? My mouth went completely dry, and I just couldn't move. I felt sick, scared, and ill. The knocking stopped. I heard footsteps outside. He was pacing up and down. Mom, I can't tell you what I've just seen. It's too horrible and graphic for words. But I know who's knocking outside, and if you don't call the police right now, we're going to die. She didn't even question me. She immediately called the police and began talking to the operator about what was going on. Josh texted me saying how angry he was for ignoring him, and how much he would hurt me if I didn't go open the door for him immediately. I ignored him again. I was not going to open that door, no matter what. Mom suddenly went silent. I could hear the operator on the end of the phone asking her what was happening. She turned to me. He's in the house. All that went through my mind was everything that had happened. Everything I had gone through with him. Everything that had happened in general. I just knew I was going to die. Baby, I know you're in there. Come out. We can talk about this. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my entire life, and I certainly hope I never feel fear like that again. I sat by the door and made sure he couldn't get in. Come on, baby. I've been honest with you. I love you. I can't lose you. You're mine. I trust you. I've shown you what lengths I would go to for you. You did all this for me, did you? You killed innocent kids, took away their future and destroyed families' lives. For me. No. You did this for you and your sick pleasures. I absolutely hate you. I hate what you've done. Get out of this house or else I'll end you myself. That's if the police don't get to you first. He started bashing on the door so hard that it was physically hurting my back just to try and stop him from getting in. "I will end you. I trusted you, you stupid bitch." He managed to break down the door, and I fell forward, smacking my head on the edge of my bedside table. He lunged at me with full force, and I didn't even have enough time to react before he stabbed me in my shoulder. I screamed in pain. I've never felt pain like it. He ripped the knife out and stabbed me again. I remember feeling so sick from the pain. My mom came up behind him and smacked him with the nearest thing she could find, and he fell down beside me, groaning in pain. My mom grabbed my hand and pulled me up as fast as she possibly could. She dragged me out of my room and down the stairs. I've never seen her so determined and so strong, but my God, I thank her every single day. As we got outside, the police came storming past us, and they ran upstairs with their guns drawn. We heard a struggle upstairs, then a couple of shots fired. As the paramedic approached us, my vision went blurry and I passed out. I think it was the loss of blood and the shock. I woke up in the hospital with 2 police officers by my bed, and my mom holding my hand so tight I couldn't feel it. My heart rate increased, and I began to sweat. "Where's Josh? What's going on?" One of the police officers informed me that during the struggle, Josh had been shot twice because he had stabbed an officer in the leg and went to slit his throat as he fell. He was killed during the struggle. A huge part of me was so glad he was dead, but another part of me felt heartbroken. I had spent nearly a year speaking to someone who I'd never met, but I really did fall for. I stuck by him through everything he put me through. He really hurt me. He ruined my life, and in that moment, I had no idea how I was going to pull myself back from it. When I think back to him attacking me, I remember how angry and distraught he was. His face showed how much pain he was feeling, but also how he really was pure evil. I remember how shocked I was to see it was really him. He wasn't a catfish. He was real. That cute nerdy guy who I loved was a child serial killer. He made me feel like it was my fault. I feel so guilty for those poor kids who were killed. Why did he feel I would ever want him to do that? It's been nearly 3 years since he was killed. He was ill. He needed help, and I couldn't do that. I wasn't enough. I blame myself a lot, even now. I will never get those images out of my head. They're imprinted in my brain. Even after all the therapy I've had, I still don't sleep at night. I see their faces, soaked with tears and filled with fear. I see his face regularly, too. I don't think I will ever be the same again. This is a warning to anyone who is online dating, or thinking about online dating. Don't ever fall for someone just by a picture. If they're not willing to meet you, move on. It's not worth the pain or heartache. Josh, I hope you find your peace in death that you couldn't find whilst you were on this earth. I really did love you, but I just can't forgive you for what you've done. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And also, big thanks to my patrons. And if you want to support me, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. Thank you so much, and have beautiful nightmares.